Hi. Welcome to Nickflix. Join us today as we plunge into the spine-tingling world of Smile, a captivating psychological horror and mystery film. Brace yourself for a thrilling roller coaster of suspense and terror as we delve into the gripping storyline. The film opens in the bedroom of a woman who has recently overdosed. Her young daughter enters the room and witnesses the scene of her mother's body amidst the chaos. In the present day, the daughter, Rose Cotter, has become a therapist and is going about her day at work. She encounters a manic patient named Carl who repeatedly expresses his fears of death and impending doom. Despite Rose's attempts to console him, Carl's episode continues. Meanwhile, Rose receives a call for an appointment with a young woman named Laura Weaver. When Rose meets Laura, she is visibly distressed after witnessing her professor brutally bludgeon himself to death. Since then, Laura claims to have been tormented by an evil presence that takes on the appearance of others. While Rose tries to calm her down, Laura suddenly spirals into panic and agitation. In a desperate moment, Rose calls for help, but to her horror, she discovers that Laura has picked up a shard from a broken vase and is now wearing an unsettling grin. Before any help can arrive, Laura tragically injures herself, causing a severe wound to her throat, which leaves Rose in a state of shock. After the tragic incident with Laura, Rose has a conversation with two detectives, one of whom happens to be her ex-partner, Joel. She provides them with all the details of what she witnessed and also discusses the event with her boss, Dr. Morgan Desai. Feeling overwhelmed, Rose returns to her home, which she shares with her fiancé Trevor and their beloved cat named Mustache. Seeking some normalcy, Rose and Trevor decide to have dinner with Rose's sister, Holly, and her husband, Greg. However, the weight of Laura's suicide still lingers in Rose's mind, causing her to snap at Holly when she brings up the upcoming birthday of Holly's son, Jackson. Despite the tension, Rose tries to regain her composure and finds solace in the support of her loved ones during this difficult time. While in the hospital, Rose happens to pass by Carl's room and is startled to see him wearing a disturbing smile, reminiscent of Laura's unsettling grin. He begins repeatedly telling Rose, "You're going to die," sending shivers down her spine. In a state of panic, Rose calls for help, and orderlies rush in to restrain Carl. Back at home, Rose's anxiety continues to escalate when she realizes that Mustache, her beloved cat, is nowhere to be found. As if that wasn't enough, the security alarm suddenly goes off, causing Rose to jump in alarm. When she receives a call from the security company, she discovers that it's actually a malicious entity on the other end, taunting and tormenting her. In an attempt to find some semblance of normalcy, Rose attends Jackson's birthday party over the weekend. However, when it's time to open gifts, a shocking and horrifying twist occurs. Jackson unwraps Rose's supposed gift, expecting a toy train, only to reveal the lifeless body of Mustache. The room erupts in chaos as everyone freaks out, and Rose desperately tries to assure them that she had nothing to do with this gruesome discovery. To her horror, she notices that one of the other mothers at the party seems to be affected by the entity's evil green aura. Overwhelmed and terrified, Rose stumbles backward and accidentally falls through a glass table, causing severe injuries to her arms. After being brought to the hospital for medical attention, Rose receives a visit from Morgan, who has become aware of her distressing episode. Concerned for her well-being, Morgan suggests that Rose take some time off from work. Trevor brings her back home. Rose attempts to explain herself, but Trevor, convinced that she is losing her mind, accuses her of actually killing Mustache. Feeling misunderstood and alone, Rose decides to seek guidance from her own therapist, Dr. Madeline Northcott, who had previously helped her navigate the trauma of her mother's suicide. Driven by a need to uncover the truth, Rose begins her own investigation. She listens to the audio recording from her session with Laura and detects a faint breathing noise that piques her curiosity. Additionally, she delves into the background of Laura's professor, Gabriel Munoz, and manages to track down his widow, Victoria. Victoria reveals that Gabriel had been plagued by visions of something haunting him, and just days after witnessing another woman named Anna Powell take her own life, Gabriel himself passed away. When Rose explains that she is experiencing similar phenomena, Victoria misunderstands her intentions and accuses her of mocking her tragedy, demanding that Rose leave. Undeterred, Rose seeks the assistance of Joel in her investigation. Despite his initial reluctance, he agrees to help and looks up information on Anna Powell. Shockingly, they discover that Anna died by gouging her own eyes out. Security footage from a gas station reveals that Anna had also witnessed a man with a haunting smile before he tragically impaled himself. As Rose uncovers these disturbing connections, she becomes more determined than ever to unravel the mystery surrounding the malevolent presence that seems to be targeting her and others. The suspense continues to build as Rose's investigation takes her deeper into a dark and chilling world. Joel accompanies Rose to a prison where they meet Robert Talley, the sole survivor of the curse. Robert reveals that the entity attaches itself to people's trauma and spreads to new victims through witnessing suicides. Each victim becomes the next target. In order to prevent the entity from killing him, Robert had resorted to killing someone else. However, when Rose expresses her inability to take a life, Robert becomes agitated and accuses her of bringing the entity with her, leading to his restraint. Back at home, Rose attempts to confide in Madeline, only to discover that the person she thought was Madeline was actually the entity in disguise. The real Madeline calls Rose shortly after, confirming her suspicions. In a chilling moment, the entity grins at Rose and ominously declares that her time is approaching. Fearing the worst, Rose feels compelled to take drastic measures. She drives to her workplace with a knife in hand. Inside the building, Rose locates Carl's room and deliberately provokes him, hoping to trigger a reaction. Just as Morgan walks in and witnesses the scene, Rose appears to repeatedly stab Carl. In a horrifying twist, Morgan's face seemingly tears off, intensifying the nightmare. However, this turns out to be a nightmarish vision that Rose experiences after passing out in her car. Disturbed by the disturbing dream, Rose decides to leave. Despite Morgan's attempts to stop her, Rose decides to drive away. Rose calls Joel and tells him that she has to isolate herself in order to stop the entity from spreading to anybody else. As Rose drives up to her childhood home, the place where her mother tragically passed away, darkness descends. The entity materializes before Rose, taking on the monstrous form of her mother, with long hair and a perpetual, unsettling smile. Filled with a mix of fear and anger, Rose confronts her mother's ghostly manifestation, expressing her pent-up frustrations about her mother's illness and the lack of help she received. The entity continues to torment Rose, relentlessly taunting her as she navigates the eerie surroundings. Determined to put an end to this haunting presence, Rose takes a drastic step. She sets the entity on fire, watching as the flames consume her childhood home. With the house ablaze, Rose flees, seeking refuge at Joel's apartment, where she believes she has finally rid herself of the entity's grip. However, Joel delivers a chilling revelation to Rose. He asserts that she can never truly escape the entity, shattering her hopes of being free from its influence. In a disturbing twist, Joel's demeanor changes, and he flashes a creepy smile, indicating that he is not to be trusted. Suddenly, Rose finds herself back at the house, trapped once again. The entity, undeterred by Rose's previous attempt to destroy it, hunts her down. It tears off its own face in a grotesque display before stretching Rose's jaw open and crawling inside her mouth. The movie reaches its horrifying climax as Joel arrives at the house, only to witness Rose, now possessed by the entity, turning to face him with her own eerie smile. In a final act of desperation, Rose sets herself on fire, bringing the story to a harrowing and tragic end. For more videos like this, please subscribe, turn on notifications and leave a comment or like. It really helps the channel. Thank you for watching.